All right, welcome to Quarantine Check, and my guest today is the very funny Diana Graham. Diana, how are you doing?
I am a-okay. How are you?
I am tired. It's been a long weekend
Yeah,
of just sitting on the couch watching TV, freezing.
that takes a lot out of a person.
It does, it does. I've never thought being lazy would be so tiring.
Mm, tell me about it.
Well, I think you told me you're back to work now, full time?
Yep. Yeah. So I was in school. I was still in school until finals got out like a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm back full time at work. So I've definitely still got stuff going on.
That's good. That's good. Um, Now, you work I don't know what you do. I think you work in a lab of some sort.
No, I work in medical device manufacturing.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but what we do is a lot for like elective surgeries, so we've kind of been taking a hit right now. Um, but hopefully when they're back to doing those in a couple of weeks, we'll be okay.
That's cool. That's cool. Let's talk about something more interesting. Let's talk about how long have you been doing it?
So let's see here. I think it's been a year and a half.
Okay. So when I met you at Mark Ridley's, that was probably one of your first times going up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 'Cause I say that I started like in September of 2018 because before that I'd only done like two open mic spots at the Ann Arbor Showcase and then Ridley's that time you met me.
Okay. Wow. Because I watched your set after we talked in the green room, and I thought your stuff was phenomenal.
Thanks.
Probably one of your first five times up there. It shouldn't be that good.
Yeah, no, that was one of my first times ever. Yeah.
So what made you want to start doing comedy?
Well, when I was like 11 or 12, I shared a Pandora account with my older brother,
Okay.
and he had a stand-up comedy like a station. And I was like, what is this? And I listened to it and I just like got obsessed with it. So I was always listening to it, like along with other music, but like I started listening to it a ton and then eventually, like made my own stations and whatnot. But yeah, I think after that, like all throughout high school it was kind of like just like in the back of my mind of like not even like I saw it and I was like, I could do that. It's just like immediately I was like, oh, I have to do that. Like I'm gonna do that. And I started writing stuff like just writing stuff in a little note thing on my iPod. And then eventually, I did my first set ever at an art collaborative, like kinds open mic when I just turned 17.
Okay.
And I was the only one to perform stand up. And luckily, my friends came with me, and my friends performed some music and stuff. But luckily the type of like content that I had worked actually really well with like an artsy crowd. So it didn't really deter me, but I do still have that video and I don't like to watch it.
You should delete it, or you should send it over to me so I can add it to this. You know?
It's like cool to see how far I've come, but it's also like hilarious to see where I started.
Well, let me ask you this: when you found your brother's Pandora stand-up Pandora stations, who was the first comic you listened to?
I think the first one I got, like the first one where I got so into it that I would like memorize his stuff was Dan Cummins.
Okay.
And then after that was like John Mulaney and like Chad Daniels and stuff.
That's cool. That's pretty
Yeah, I,
cool.
I actually got to meet Dan Cummins he at his live taping last fall. So that was pretty cool, pretty full circle for me.
Did you go up and talk to him afterwards?
Yeah, he was doing because it was like his special taping show. He I think it was the late show. So he he did his taping and then he was basically like stick around and we all just like lined up and we got to like take a picture with him and talk to him for a minute, and like his daughter was there, and if you listen to his stand up, that all about Monroe. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. Where was that at?
The Crowfoot.
Okay, wow. I did not even know that happened. When was that?
mm, like October, November.
Okay. There's probably a reason why I didn't go to it then. But that's awesome. That you get to meet you got to meet the people, one of the people that influenced you.
Oh yeah, I lost my mind. He did the bit like that I remember at 12 years old memorizing. He just, because he already had, the recording crew there and everything, he taped his new special and then came back on stage and did that bit because he only has the audio recording of it currently. He's never videotaped it.
Wow.
And so he starts doing that bit, and I went with Eric Laux, and I turned to Eric and I was like, oh my God. And I was just sitting there like mesmerized and like mouthing along with everything he was saying.
That's incredible. That is awesome. So let's talk. So all right, let's go back. So you did your first show when you were 17, your first open mic. How many months or years was it till your next one?
17. I think a year. I think it was like at least a year.
So what when you with that year with the lapse of a year, what made you do it again?
Well, because it wasn't. I didn't. I did not do it because I didn't want to do it. It was because it was so inaccessible when you're 17.
Right.
And so I was in high school. I was busy. So um, I did it. So I did it during the summer, and during the summer I would run cross country, and then it was my senior year of high school, and I was in plays and cross country and soccer and all of those things, Model UN and stuff. So then, like, whoa, wait, it might have been 2 years actually. Yeah, I think it was actually 2 years
Okay.
because I didn't then, like, it was like my senior year. Then I was like, honestly, I think partially it was because I was in a relationship. I got too comfortable with my life.
Okay.
And then I started college, and the relationship ended while I was in my freshman year of college. And so then after that, I was like, let's do this again.
You've kind of exploded onto the Detroit scene since you back. You're pretty much everywhere. Like
I try to be.
you're always at the Independent. You were at Cave quite a bit. I think I've had you on a couple of my shows. You're always out in Ann Arbor. How do
Mhm.
you find the time to do that with going to college full time, working, and still being in your early 20s?
Oh, it's definitely really difficult. And like a lot of times I get people, which like I understand what like their point to it, but like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I wish I would have started that young." And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm really struggling here because like I'm not as experienced or mature as an adult that would have this many responsibilities. So I can't handle it as well as you might be able to fathom it. And I don't know, it's definitely been a source of like tension with my parents is because I want to be doing shows all the time. Um, but I don't know, kind of like balancing like my mental health and school and work. Like I kind of been able to hit more of a rhythm. I cut myself some slack and I don't try to book myself on too many shows during the school year. I don't allow myself to submit to things during the school year. I only like say yes if somebody asks me to do something.
Right.
Um, so like that kind of, so that way I'm like kind of restrained in that sense, and like I can just like go up to a go up mic if I have time and stuff. But it's like I only work the 1 day a week during the school year, like for that reason. I only take like 12, 13 credit hours per semester, because otherwise like I shut down. And I really struggled with it around this time last year, this semester last year, just because like comedy was like the one thing that I still enjoyed, and so I found it hard not to do it, but at the same time like my studies are slipping and stuff. So definitely a hard balance, but I'm glad I kind of found my way through it.
The scene is as well because you are such a bright spot.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, you did submit to a festival that I know you got into.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was so yeah, I was supposed to do Mommy, Mary and Joseph in Fort Wayne. And then I was also supposed to do Stoop Fest.
Okay.
That's in Lansing. So really bummed that this was the year I decided to start submitting to festivals.
At least you got in.
Yeah, no, it's like a nice feeling, and like me and Cody we both got into that one, and we were gonna like we'd already booked the Airbnb and stuff. And so it was really a sad. We were both so sad when I was like, I canceled it. Like we got a full refund, but like,
No, your first festival is freaking amazing.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully it'll happen someday.
It will, because someone told me you have become popular on the TikTok.
Oh yeah,
Wh-
yeah.
What happened? How did that happen?
Well, okay, I had like posted like just like regular like I don't know if you know this, but like I like to do like embroidery and like I like painted my shoes and I like to because I thrift everything I own, so I like to like make it my own and that sort of thing. So I posted like just a couple of videos like TikToks of just me doing that, just like process of embroidering something. I was actually embroidering something for Andrew Yang. Um and then I took uh 40 days off of social media and streaming services for Lent. And then I came back and I was like, all right, I mean, we're all stuck inside because right at the beginning of Lent is when everything started happening. So I was like, all right, if we're all going to be here, like, why not put something out there? So I posted one before, but I hadn't posted with subtitles and it was like a really weird video, like, in the terms of like where the video was shot and the quality and stuff. So like it didn't do well. So I like took that one down and I posted 5 with subtitles, like just 5 clips that I liked all at the same time. And the 5th one blew up.
Let me ask you, is it Lincoln levels of blowing up or is it beyond that?
Um I've got I'll just read it to you. I think I've got like uh the like original one that got me followers is at 480,000 views.
Holy fudge. That's really good.
And you know, I had another comedian ask me like they're like do you have any advice for TikTok? Like you seem to be doing well. And I was like, you know, the most tangible advice I could give was to add subtitles, like especially like my videos aren't like Comedy Central quality at all, you know. They're not all of the videos I post are me even at like on a stage. And so kind of shows and I was like just adding subtitles like gives it that kind of professionalism and also like in terms of like accessibility. Um but I think part of the reason that clip is it's a queer content and I think I got a lot of comments of people being like, you know, like I thought I didn't like stand up. It turns out I just don't like straight stand up and stuff like that. And like, you know, this generation of kids that are on TikTok have never seen somebody like me doing stand up before. Like they've never seen a person like me represented in that spot before, which I think is maybe part of the reason that video in particular blew up.
That's cool. It's a perfect segue. You last year you got to do your first 30-minute set.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you got that opportunity and how it went.
Sure. So that one, and you know, it's just so important to just know people, I guess. That one was for a like charity show. And it was like a friend of a friend was booking it and was like, I want, you know, I want like a queer comic, like but I don't even know where to begin to look for this because they primarily had booked drag queens who were on the show as well, and then like musicians in the past because they were doing working for the Crowfoot for like a year, and this was like the first show that they got to entirely produce themselves, so that was cool. And yeah, they like reached out, you know, they were like, oh, I recommended you, and then because I had posted clips on Twitter, they were able to like right then watch my content, so there was no delay in that, and they were like, oh yeah, I want to book her. And so they were like, do you think you could do 25 to 30 minutes? And I was like, I'm gonna not say no. Sure.
No, that's perfect. You have to lie when someone offers you that.
I was like, there's no way I'm not taking this. And I didn't like it wasn't and yeah, and it was for the opportunity because I like I got some like tips, but it wasn't for money. Like all of it went to the charity. And I ended up I like rehearsed a ton, obviously, like planned it all out. Like, and I was 8 months into stand up at this point, so it was all the material I had. And I ended up I did my set, and then I came back and I had made friends with one of the other volunteers running it. I came back to where I had like left my timer or whatever, and I looked down, like stop it, and I looked down and it was like 30 minutes and 40 seconds or something, and I was like, I just turned to her and I was like, I did it, like I actually did this. And I was on a complete high for the rest of the night.
And I'm guessing you got a really good reception for the set.
Yeah, and I mean, because of like the content that they chose to do and like the audience that was there, it went really well, you know? I didn't have anybody heckling me over it, and I had a lot of friends come because obviously that was a huge show for me.
If you could go back, now that you've been doing comedy longer, if you could go back and do that set over, what would you change?
um I that's kind of hard. I got to do 3 more half hours that year,
Okay.
and I'm a pretty prolific writer. They were all different. And so I think I wouldn't really change anything about that night. I like it for what it is, and I think it needed to happen, you know? I have that video too, and that video is what got me my next half hour. And I wish I would have been more memorized, but that show happened the Saturday after my finals week. So I didn't really have the time.
No, I remember because you were on my show at like my old room at Pieces and Pages, and I gave you more time just so you could get ready for that set. And I was so worried because you actually had all your notes up there on stage, and I'm like, all right, she's memorizing it, but so.
Yeah, I was, cause like it's all for me is I've gotten better with it like now to the point where if I want to be memorized for something, I will. But sometimes I'm not memorized, and if you know your material well enough, nobody even notices that you have notes. Like, cause I know my bits, and I know my punchlines. I just don't know what order I'm putting them in all the time.
Right.
And I've watched so many people try to be memorized before they're ready with something, and especially if you're constantly working on stuff like I am, and then just freeze, and that's so much worse to me than having a tiny slip of paper.
No, it is. Like I have notes on stage with just keywords,
Yeah, me too.
so I know where I'm.
That was the big thing after I did my second half hour. That's what I posted on. I didn't like post any clips from it or anything. What I posted on Facebook was the difference of the notes that I had with me, because I had like a full, I have both of them still, but I had like a full like half page with like a full line. And then for my second one, I had a piece of paper like this big with 4 keywords. And I was like, all right, that one went a little better.
That's good. Where was your second 30 at?
That was at Trimble and Porter Hotel. Um,
I'm not familiar with that venue.
again, like some weird friend of a friend type instance, and it just so happened this person that was booking it um wanted somebody, like three different things they wanted, I think. Somebody like new or young, whichever, um could do 30 minutes time and had a following, like could bring whatever amount of people. I forget how many people they asked me to bring. um and so yeah, uh that show that show was really tricky for me because I didn't really get along with the booker so well,
Okay.
and it was hard to have, so like a open mic type of thing followed me, and but it was like a pre-booked kind of thing but not like vetted, so I'm gonna stick with open mic. um but so there were a few people before me, but it was just like so disorganized that that night was like so stressful for me, and I had all my friends there because I was supposed to like bring people, and so I spent the whole night just like, what is happening? And apparently my friends loved it though. My one friend is like, I want the video from that night because I can't describe to people how crazy of a show that was.
Yeah, I love shows like that.
It was just, it was chaos. It was the man, Jacob Barr was one of the people that did a set before me. Jacob Barr and Tanner drove in, and Jacob Barr's on stage. He can't get the mic out of this mic stand because the guy zip tied it to where like now the string, like the cord can't be freed. And so he's like standing near it. And then the host slash booker of the show is on stage with him. It's a large outdoor stage. Was on stage with him in the back corner, changing his shirt.
Okay, why?
Why? It was so bizarre. And then like he wouldn't put a list together. Dude, this really bonded like Tanner and I over how crazy this man was. But yeah, so I would never do that again. But it was a good place. Again, how many opportunities do you get to do a half hour and
Especially
get, that one was paid.
good, but especially
So
so early in your career too.
yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna take this opportunity. Like again, I was like, I'm gonna take this opportunity.
So one of the things I like best about your comedy is your writing. There's so much depth to it. What is your process?
I'm definitely not one of those people that sits down and writes.
Okay.
Like it's definitely, I'm I drive so much between commuting to school. I commute half an hour to school. I commute an hour to work, and like then to shows are always half hour away from me. And so I'm always in my head when like I'm driving. So I'm just like mulling over things. So that's kind of like when I do the actual thinking is just when I'm by myself, which is a lot. Um, but yeah, I have a notebook. I finally got it because I have notes like in my phone, and it would just go on, go on, and eventually I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I had just gotten one and started actually writing stuff down. But yeah, I think it's a lot of just like, because I feel like I have a lot of different like types of jokes that I like to tell in terms of like, I really like stupid wordplay, like leading up for 2 minutes and then doing a pun. And then I also like to do stuff which is just me like annoyed at something about society, and then there's like no punchline. I'm just yelling about something. So it's all very just like right there.
So do you consider yourself a traditional stand-up or alt?
I really don't know the difference.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I was asking.
No, I think the first set this is actually what I consider my first paid gig was Robert Kemeny's show at Villains.
Okay.
And I went up, I did my 10 minutes, and which is probably the longest set I had done at that point too. And Robert came and talked to me afterwards, and he was like, usually I'm a pretty like old school type of guy, but I really I like still liked your stuff or something like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing something different.
I think, and this is just me guessing, is that you just, because you're still in your early 20s and you're just doing whatever is funny to you and not saying, I'm going to go with this style or this style. You're just being true to yourself, which I think makes your comedy unique.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I think people forget, like, I don't want to, I don't want to say that this is an excuse for me, but like the luxury of having an audience that is your age or relates to you in any basic level is something that like I don't take for granted. Like that's why TikTok is such a nice outlet for me, because these people are, sometimes younger, a lot of times younger, but like my age, like queer or, like whatever it is. And having that relation makes it so much easier to tell jokes to them.
That's important to actually, you're in a rare position where you can actually grow your audience and kind of help them, they'll help you go to the next level.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's cool. And I think, oh my gosh, like some kids are using my video to come out, which
Really?
is like insane that I get to be like this tiny part of something so huge. Like I'm so incredibly flattered.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's it's really cool. So like that part I really like. I'm using the link in my bio. It's a link tree, and I have links to I have a lot of friends in bands and stuff, and I link their Spotify's. I have a friend that runs her own reusable clothing business. I have hers there. And what's really gratifying for me is that like they'll tell me like I got 8 new listeners on Spotify, or I had 78 people visit my website because of you. And like that's really nice because that's like tangible. Because for me, I don't really like, it doesn't make me feel like having 60,000 followers on TikTok is going to get me a gig. Like,
It might. I've actually had one booker ask me what my Instagram following was like, and I'm like,
oh, really?
I'm like minimal.
I'm a minimalist, actually.
No, it's a good thing because first of all, you have a unique voice. Second, you have the followers. Third, you're young, which are 3 things that are really important in, at least in the pre-COVID world.
Sure, yeah.
What do you think comedy is going to be like when we're finally set free?
Like, I feel like it'll be, it's like some people are saying it might be packed with people who are like, well, now I want to do this before I die type of thing. But I don't know. I can't even picture it happening for so long because of like what the venues usually are for like the everyday open mic type scenes, to where like we're not going to be able to have bar shows till probably next year. Like stuff like that really just scares me to the point where like I don't even know.
I think September for bar shows. I think house shows are going to be the new norm in June, July, August.
Yeah, if we're allowed to meet, have groups over a certain number.
I mean, we have until supposedly May 28th.
Yeah. My 21st birthday is June 8th, so
My birthday
better not get extended.
My birthday is May 27th.
Ah.
So my birthday present is the next day of freedom or another 2 weeks of this.
Yeah.
Hold on, what day is your birthday?
June 8th?
My brother's birthday is June 8th.
Oh my gosh, am I your brother?
I hope not, because I actually like you more than I like my brother.
All right, well, don't tell him that.
You're a lot nicer than he is.
No,
Depending.
I try to be. That's actually my gauge. Is like, would Robert's brother do this? And then if he would, I don't do that.
It's a good gauge to have.
Mm.
Thankfully, my brother does not watch or listen to this. Um, so Matt, what would be what would be your ideal plans for your 21st birthday?
Oh, well, I Bart Dangus had mentioned having a bonfire for my 21st at his I helped him move in and I was like, "Will you still host my birthday party?" And he was like, "Yes, of course."
That's cool.
So that was I was looking forward to maybe getting to do that, but I don't want to have to hold him to it now.
I think by end of May, everyone is going to be at each other's throats and ready to go out.
I know, it's scary because I have a feeling that we're not going to get it all back immediately.
We're not.
Like, I have a feeling there's going to be restrictions and also that people aren't going to follow them, but you know.
Like last weekend, Belle Isle was just supposedly packed.
Oh, yeah, I went to Belle Isle like a few weeks ago, and yes, it was. But people, like, were 6 feet apart. Like, they stuck to their own groups.
I was at that. Well, that's good. I was at Walmart today, and no one was practicing social distancing.
Ooh.
But don't go to Walmart. It's 7 Mile and Middle Belt.
Oh, that's the Walmart. We live right by each other, Robert.
Yeah, I know. I know. We're
That's the Walmart I go to.
we are all part of the 4 comedians who live in Livonia.
Dan, right?
Dan lives in Canton.
Oh, no, they just moved.
Oh, they did?
Yes, but he actually might live in Redford, so don't hold me to that.
No, neither one's Livonia. So there's you, me, Mark Sweetman, and John Hilla.
Oh, yeah, Mark Sweetman. I went to high school, I think, at the same time as some of his kids.
He has lots of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured there's some overlap there.
That's good. It could be part of the whole Sweetman clan story.
It's a big web.
So, what are your goals once all this is over?
Um, well, I have like specific shows that I want to do that like now probably won't be happening for a while, but like I had goals for the year type of thing that I'd written out, certain like just like either whether it be like a house show or like a certain showcase or something. Um, but I was talking to the other 2 half hours I got to do last year was at a show that me and my friends put on, where it goes 2 bands, me, 2 bands, and we all do half hours. And it was like the most incredible audience I've ever had because, again, they're all kids. They're all my age and think like me. And so we want to do like keep doing that show, and so I think like my goals right now, that I like keep thinking about is one, we want to continue to do that show and like grow it, um and then two, I want to go on tour with them, because I don't have the means to go on tour by myself, nor would I want to because danger.
Yes.
uh but like we'd love to like tour with this kind of like combined music and comedy type thing, and like if we tour together, like they can get their gigs and I can find my own, like whether it just be like an open mic or something, like own show to do that night, and you know kind of just meet up afterwards. And then I don't know when necessarily, but especially after being locked in for so long, it'd be really nice to have an album to promote, because as of right now, I'm gonna run out of videos to post. And so that's something that like I hadn't really thought about even doing before, that now I think, you know, sometime within the next couple years I want to do.
Let's talk about this show with 4 bands and you.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of music?
So we got like math rock and pop and punk. Yeah, I think that's like all of them.
What's your favorite band of all time, or favorite genre, or both?
Ooh, well, I would say my favorite, well, probably a tie. Favorite bands are the two bands that I do the show with, which is Andrea Doria, which is pop music, essentially, I think. And then, or at least that's what their album's listed as in Apple Music. And then Read the Sun. And then my friend Billy Cosmo has his own music out um, under William Space. And so those are like the three people I always do shows with, or the three groups of people. He also has a band, It Doesn't Bother Me, that's like real punk music. And yeah, it's such a fun show, and I make them all sit down on the ground because I refuse to be eye level with people while I tell jokes.
Okay.
So, and all the video, my most popular video on TikTok right now is from one of those shows. And you can tell it's me like standing in front of like a drum kit, and then and then a bunch of people sitting on the ground in front of me. And so many people have been like, one, is that in a living room? Two, are those children? And I have to be like, no, it's called a DIY show. So yeah, it's in a living room, but no, those aren't kids. Those are adults I made sit on the ground.
I gotta tell you, I love DIY shows. Back when I was really into, I still am into punk, and I used to go to all these ones in Hamtramck.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They play. It's so funny. We literally, so like part of the reason we do this show is because we would love to come to each other's shows all the time, but we have our own shows. And so we were like, well, if we just did the same show, we wouldn't have this problem. And so many a times I did Sneakers open mic in Ferndale. They were playing at the Loving Touch right next door the same night, and like we didn't
Wow,
realize until we got home. Then one night I was hosting at the Independent, and they were playing at Ghostlight.
that's a really cool coincidence.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to get to run into them.
So I love the idea of music and comedy together. I got to do it twice, and both times kind of ended badly.
Oh no.
I was at what's that mansion down the Whitney. I was opening up for I was going to do a set in between my friend's band, and
Cool.
they're like a local legend. They the lead singer wrote the book Bird Brain or whatever that the movie with that Sandra Bullock was in, Bird Box,
Okay. Oh, okay.
and they do the theme for Shameless.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they never told the venue they had a comedian on the show. So I'm in the middle of my second joke, and all of a sudden these two guys come to remove me from the stage and they told me my set was over.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I'm getting people are booing that because they're liking my jokes.
That's good at least.
Except for one guy because they are escorting me out of the Whitney. And this guy goes up to the bouncers or whoever they were, thank you for doing the decent thing. And I'm like, this sucks.
God, I did we didn't they didn't really tell anybody that this is happening, but my friends had a gig at the Blind Pig, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do like 2 minutes of material at like in the middle of our set?" Like, so they were switching instruments and stuff and getting set up for like the rest of their set, which was, not incredibly long or anything. And so they were just like, all right, Diana's going to come tell some jokes. Nobody knew that comedy was going to happen that night. And same situation. So I like run up there and I did like my most recent Rumble set at the time. And then I was like, all right. And ran back off.
What kind of reaction did you get?
Oh, it was pretty positive. I think the first first little part of it, they were like, why is this happening? Not necessarily wanting to listen, but I, still got laughs, so it wasn't terrible.
That's all that's important, is that you got laughs instead of that dreaded silence.
Yeah, I didn't get escorted off the stage, so I feel pretty good about it now.
Yeah. But actually, that wasn't as bad as the other one. Jimmy Cipriano had booked me on his show that was at like this outside venue in Lake Orion, and there was a band and then comedy afterwards. And it was like a Grateful Dead cover band. So I knew I was in trouble because I fucking hate jam bands.
Hmm.
And I'm on stage, I'm telling my joke, Robert versus Jesus. And I got to a point where there's usually no laughter or any reaction. But I just got a huge applause break. And I'm like, holy fuck, these are Christian hippies.
Oh no.
When I got to the punchline, dead silence. Dead silence for the rest of my set.
Oof. Oof.
I was doing 15 minutes. I'm like, I fucking hate hippies.
Yeah, it's really funny because like this is the most feedback I've ever gotten on my comedy, which is on TikTok, which is from teenagers that have only ever watched John Mulaney. So some of them have been commenting like some of them are mean obviously, but like a lot of them are like, this was so funny, that crowd sucks. And I was like, and a lot of the times I'm replying like, nah, they were just shy, like they did not think it was funny, like these are all these people commenting this have never been in an audience at a comedy show before. So there's like a lot to it, and one of them, they were like, oh, for the first half of that joke, like nobody was laughing, that they should have been laughing, something like that. And I was like, no, I kept putting up my hand and holding them back, like you can see in the clip, I keep stopping.
Oh, were you really, or just telling the person that?
No, like you can tell by my body language that like that's what was stopping them. Like I don't think I wanted to do that, but that is what I did.
That's pretty cool. I saw that you posted yesterday that Jim Gaffigan's daughter is now following you.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, so I get this comment that just says, hey, do you know who Jim Gaffigan is? And I just replied, yeah. And then she replies like an emoji and then tee. And I was like, what does this mean? I go to her page and I like look through a few and I'm like, okay, she's like 12. Like, this is weird. Like, 12-year-olds don't know who Jim Gaffigan is. I see one where she's like, me and my mom. I watch it and I was like, now I gotta look this up. So I go Jim Gaffigan's wife and I was like, please just have a different color hair so I don't even have to think about this. Just don't be the same person. And I was like, that is the same person. And so like then I look up Jim Gaffigan wife and kids and I was like, oh my gosh, she's his youngest daughter. And so I replied, like I didn't really let on that I knew who she was because I didn't want anybody else to figure out who she was.
Right.
So I just replied, ha 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 ha, okay. And so now she just follows me and I just have to live with that.
Do you think she'll show her dad your material?
No, I have a feeling, I don't know, I have a feeling kids wouldn't want to share their TikToks with their parents. But
Probably for the
it's
best.
definitely funny because I was like, I didn't even know that this is my target audience.
12-year-olds?
Just 12-year-olds with comedian dads.
That's a pretty good audience to have. Hey, tell your dad when he's in town to let me open for him.
I don't know that I'm clean enough, but yeah. Well, now I've got that on my mind. I'm like, oh, these are kids. I shouldn't.
It's a weird place to be in because they choose to become your audience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely like, and you have to play the algorithm right to like the most you can do is like put hashtags, but I can like tell when a video has like found its way into the right category and actually gets traction than like other videos might not.
That's cool. Well, I'll just say you deserve the TikTok success, and hopefully that will lead to greater comedy success, kind of get back to normal.
Thank you.
But before we go, during this time of isolation, I have become a very big fan of Craigslist misconnections.
Oh my God. Okay.
And there are some genius ones that people write. Most of them are really creepy.
Mm.
Some of them are dumb/creepy. Like this
Okay.
I'm about to read. Got Netflix and no one to chill with. This was from Farmington Hills, Michigan. So right around the corner from us.
Sure.
All right. Yo, girl, I got me a couch, a big screen TV, and no one to chill with. So if you're a sexy female and want to Netflix and chill with me, hit me up. When you come over, we can watch anything you want. We can watch Tiger King, The Office, Community, Shawshank Redemption, my all-time favorite movie. You misspelled Redemption.
That's fine. That's a hard word.
Or we could just chill and have Netflix on in the background. Or I could put Pornhub on because I got that too. I also got essential oils if you like that kind of stuff. Hope you do. Once our other appetites are satiated, we can order Chili's, Applebee's, or Red Lobster, whatever you want, and as long as I have a gift card for them. So what do you say? Let's make this happen by messaging me and telling me what you'd want to watch.
I didn't know these were a real thing.
They are. They are.
And now I hate it.
I hate that he misspelled redemption, but could still use the word satiated.
Oh, well, he's misspelled it and said it was his favorite movie.
Yeah, it's a long movie, but...
So that's not a good sign.
So, if you could crack a joke or a riff on this, what would you do?
If I could, humor is the lowest form of entertainment. If something makes me laugh, I throw it away. No, redemption. Might as well put. No, I'm not gonna say it. That's too bad of a joke. You know what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's my input.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Just not saying it.
After this is over, you don't go on there and respond to that person.
That would be my business.
Because you could do so many other better things with your time.
No, I met somebody online like 2 months ago, and now we can't meet, and it's just been 2 months of texting. And
that sucks.
Yep.
Are they from this area, or hopefully are a little bit cooler?
Nope. Yep. From well, not like Livonia, but from around here.
Well, I hope you two sooner than later.
I'm very impatient, but yeah.
Well, it'll be worth it, hopefully.
I won't even know.
Oh, you'll know because you're counting down the days till May 28th, unless we're extended for another 2 fucking weeks.
I get people are dying, but on my birthday of all days?
You could just sneak out, stand on their driveway.
No, and I can't get a new ID.
Oh shit! I gotta get my license renewed.
Good luck.
They said actually right now they're putting a ban. They're letting you keep on using your license and tabs.
Yeah.
But Diana, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. We can find you on TikTok under what?
Diana G. Graham, and that's my Twitter as well. And my Instagram is Diana Graham.
Have you done any virtual mics?
No.
Are you going to do any virtual mics?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, hopefully I will see you perform sooner than later. Diana, thank you so much. We have an amazing guest on tomorrow's show.
Oh.
We have Ann Arbor's own Kevin Key.
Oh, Kevin! Blessings on blessings.
And we are going to discuss the dumbest move of his life.
I love it. I love it. Praise God, as Kevin would say.
Kevin is awesome, yeah. Thank you so much, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.